All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's eAcademy session. My name is Tisha Vera. I'm the Education and Program Manager here at the Hug. First, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, I just have a few housekeeping notes. Everyone's going to be on mute today, so we can hear our presenters without any background noise. For questions, we are going to be utilizing our Q&A feature. It is located in your Zoom dashboard. Feel free to drop your questions there at any time, and we will save some time at the end for Q&A. And with that, I will pass the floor over to our presenter of the day, Andrew.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We are excited to be here today to be talking to you about Oracle's recent AI update for PeopleSoft. That's what this session is all about. So just to jump straight into it, at Blueprint 4D in June, Oracle announced it was not going to proceed with developing what I would call turnkey AI inside PeopleSoft. It was also going to stop developing their Picasso or their chatbot product. Oracle's AI investments have been focused and continue to be focusing on Fusion, but for PeopleSoft, they're taking a slightly different tact. It won't have AI built into it that you can just turn on, but it will have AI frameworks enabling you to use AI in a way that best fits you. And so that was their update. And this session is all about how to navigate that. Why are you talking to us, to me? We are a vendor. Yes, we're a vendor. This is not a sales session, but I live and breathe AI every day. I'm Andrew Bediz. I'm the practice lead for AI and user experience at Gideon Taylor. And so every day of the week, we are in the market understanding where the demands are of clients, where there are gaps, where there are needs. And we're going to take that experience and try to reflect it back for you on how to navigate this latest update. That's what this is all about. If you haven't heard of Gideon Taylor, we're really a full service Oracle ecosystem with deep PeopleSoft expertise provider globally. And we have a few products around business automation and e-forms. We do traditional PeopleSoft projects and hosting. And of course, in my side of the world, AI, user experience inside PeopleSoft, Oracle, and other related applications. So we've been around for, since 2001, and we're nearing a quarter of a century here. That's pretty amazing. And we brought with us today to this presentation a good partner of ours, Aptio, that works in the European markets, the South American markets, Latin America. So I have Rodrigo here with me. Rodrigo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Andrew. Yeah, my name is Rodrigo. I'm a business development manager in North Europe here at Aptio. Aptio is a specialist Oracle partner focused on PeopleSoft and also a Gideon Taylor partner, very um, trusted partner. We ensure low disruption in HCM and ERP, PeopleSoft installations, also in SIS, and we bring senior experts and proven accelerators in the PeopleSoft world. You can see here some of our services and solutions, and we're very proud to be here with you. So thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you for joining us, Rodrigo. One more advertisement before we get started. This year, it's our inaugural year as part of the Hug Alliance conference in Orlando in March. There will be a mini conference inside of that and attached to the beginning of it called GT Ignite, which will be all GT information about things our customers are doing and case studies and thought leadership. I'm sure Aptio and Rodrigo will be there as well. It starts one day before the hug, but I believe has content throughout the hug as well. There is a QR code there where you can sign up. I believe the fee is next to nothing, right, Scott? And we'd love to see everybody there. Okay, so is Oracle's new approach to AI a game changer? So at first, it might have a little shock value and you might be taken aback, but the reality is no, it's not a game changer at all. So PeopleSoft is going to support the AI integration infrastructure that you need to run AI. Now, in our experience, we do AI all the time. The difference between good AI and mediocre AI is all about the integration. You got to have solid integration, and you really have to integrate to more than one system, not just PeopleSoft. Your users are going to have questions that need to source information from systems that are PeopleSoft, but beyond PeopleSoft. And so they're going to give you an integration framework so that you can tap into PeopleSoft, and then you can mix that with other systems. And so that really allows you to build AI that is broader, and you can build it yourself, or you can work with a partner to build it. So the end result is previously they would try to build you, for example, Picasso, a chatbot for you. You could try to put in minimal effort, take it as it is, but it might not fit your organization perfectly. So you'd end up changing it anyway. So now you're just going to take that same effort and you're going to build something that works for you, or you're going to partner for this. So you have tons of great options. We're going to go through some of those. Before we go too much farther, let's address the elephant in the room. If you did use Picasso, Picasso is built on the Oracle Digital Assistant framework running in the Oracle Cloud. That is one of Oracle's AI tools. And if you've built anything, you can still use it. You can still use Picasso. You can still use any of your custom skills. All that is still supported. ODA itself, the infrastructure behind Picasso, is also not deprecated. It is only the Picasso skill that is deprecated, not the actual technology and not the integration that talks to PeopleSoft, right? So where do we go from here? What should you do? Well, the first thing you shouldn't do is nothing. This is some data from one of our clients, which shows if you do AI well, it really can have a dramatic effect. There are many AI projects that aren't done well, that don't see these results, but the takeaway here is this is a possibility. You can achieve this. One of our clients tracked all of their support volume from students. In August, their busiest month. It's very hard to serve students in your busiest month because, as you can see, the amount of requests that come in on email, on phone, ticket volume, it's double the other months. So how do you staff up for that? How do you train? How do you reduce wait times? It's an impossible task. So this client of ours who deployed a student support AI to answer their own questions, they saw a 40% drop in phone volume and a 65% drop in email volume. So now these students, weren't calling and emailing because they were getting their answers instantly, right? They can get back to their studies. They're not frustrated. They're not waiting for a response. They're not waiting on hold. And that has a real impact. I asked this customer, I said, this is amazing, these numbers. Are you going to reduce headcount to save money? And the story this woman told me really stayed with me. She said, no, we're not going to reduce any headcount. But now what we're going to do is we're going to be able to spend 10 times, 10x the amount of time with the students that need it the most, when before we just couldn't do it. We didn't have enough time. And so that is how AI can help you, right? To automate some of the routine type tasks. Now, GenAI has been a big thing. I know Picasso was not GenAI. PeopleSoft previously did not have GenAI features, but you can use GenAI with PeopleSoft. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go. This is just show you some data from one of our customers that GenAI is making a difference. It is a leap forward compared to kind of the traditional Picasso skills. This is one of our customers who saw their volume nearly double in 5 months' time. This particular customer, 20,000 interactions a month, automated, 20,000. How many humans would you need to have 20,000 conversations with students in a month? That's really incredible. And it's because of the use of GenAI. So the takeaway here is AI is worth it. You can achieve results. You should have it on your radar and in your plans. It should be in your plans in 2026, whether you do it yourself or you partner. So that really comes down to your two choices. So we've established AI is valuable. You should do it. It is not hype. You can achieve results if done well, right? So you're either going to do it yourself using AI tools in the Oracle Cloud, or you can partner up. Now there's different various levels of partnering up. You could partner up, but we have clients, for example, that will use us maybe for advising and to help them with some direction and kind of surgically come in here and there. We have other clients who use our AI products, and we're deeply embedded with their teams, and we're doing bigger projects with them. It's a whole scale. But these are essentially your two choices. So, which path to choose? The do-it-yourself path is probably best if you have faith that you have the in-house skills and your timeline matches your need. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, most customers we have that have done it themselves, what we've seen is they've gone through a lot of training, right? You can't just take a traditional programmer and put them into AI and have that go smoothly or quickly. It's an entirely different mindset. And if you have multiple years to roll this out, this is a path for you. The partnering path is probably best for customers who want a faster time to value. They want to get something out right away. They've already promised that they'll have something in 2026, and they can't wait 2 years, right? They want to go broad quickly and get it up. And they don't want to deal with the ongoing maintenance in a fast-paced world, which we'll talk about more as we go. So we're helping clients today with this as well. Folks who used to use Picasso are moving to a product we have called Item. The important part about AI, though, is it's a journey, not a project. Your mindset has to be that AI, it mimics a human, but in the same way, it has to be treated like a human, right? You have to review their output. You have to provide it feedback. It has to get better over time. You constantly have to be managing it just like you would a human. So it's not just a point in time project. It really has to be seen as a journey. One big thing to note is we've seen this a lot in the market, especially in the last year or so. And that is, at one point in time, many folks had this idea in their head, oh, we're going to have one AI platform, right? The whole organization, the whole institution is going to use one AI. And that sounds great because that means we only have one platform to manage. We only have one vendor, and we'll have one shared service center that handles all the AI. But the reality has quickly changed. This possibility has faded. It's done. It's over. And the reason why is because every software vendor is building AI into their stack. You don't even oftentimes have a choice to turn it on or off. It's just going to be there. And so the reality is you're going to have multiple AI bots and agents running in multiple systems. And so your new focus needs to be, how do these agents and bots work together? Not so much we're going to use one platform, because a platform, let's say in a service management platform, it's not going to integrate well with PeopleSoft the way the Oracle AI tools do. So it's okay to say, we're going to use the Oracle AI tools for the Oracle use cases, and then we're going to use the service management platform for the help desk use cases. But then now let's make sure they work together. And that has to be part of your project plan. Rather than saying, oh, let's have the service management bot do everything. In my experience, that does not go well. The integrations aren't great, and you don't maximize the return from your AI investments. So when you're looking at going into AI or building AI, these are the top barriers to GenAI adoption, specifically in a recent study by IBM. So these are important to keep in mind when you're considering, do I build it or do I partner? So number one was data privacy. I know this is probably big in Europe as well. AI can be a bit of a black box. And I can tell you from experience, when we speak with clients, often they're talking to vendors, they're getting the wrong information, right? They think their data is always staying in their data center. And quite frequently, it is not. And oftentimes, the sales organizations of these companies don't understand that either. So it is well justified that 57% of these respondents said data privacy is a concern. And you do need to get your head around, how is data used in this AI world? Is PII data ever sent to an outside model? Where is that model? Who's hosting it? Who else uses it? Who has access to the logs? Right, these are questions you need to be up to speed on, because they are quite important. And even when a platform seems like it's very secure, you would be surprised, I think, at some of these answers. Number two here is AI transparency, right? AI is not a people code program. You can't run a trace and understand why it made the decision it made. It is a bit of a black box. So this is a concern, but I'll tell you, when you deploy AI, you have to let this go a little bit. AI is not a black and white ones and zeros, platform. AI is probabilities, right? So it's 78% sure, it's 85% sure. And so you have to get comfortable with that paradigm. And you're never going to know exactly why AI made the decisions it made. So this has been a barrier. Lastly, lack of AI skills. This is a huge one. Many organizations are reporting it's very, very difficult to hire the right AI skills and even train. It's obviously tremendous demand in the marketplace for these skills, and so they are hard to find. So these are the top 3 barriers folks are dealing with. Now, if you're going to build this yourself, I mean, even if you worked with a partner like Apptio or us, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the Oracle AI Toolkit. And here is the basics of that portfolio. So number 1 is ODA. This is what is used by Picasso. And so this is a visual flow builder. It's traditional machine learning, natural language processing. What it means is in ODA, every outcome is what we call human supervised, right? So you know what the bot's going to do. You basically tell the bot, if somebody's asking about a paycheck, you show it this paycheck data, right? That's what ODA is. That's used by Picasso. You can continue to use this service either if you've already started with Picasso or you can spin it up new. Just know there are some minimums with this service that you have to incur if you do start it up. And all of these services are in data centers all over the world. You can pick your own data center. They're not in every data center, but they are pretty geographically dispersed. The second one here is the GenAI service. What is this? The GenAI service is really the ability to run a large language model in an OCI data center. So what's the good news? The good news is that if you need a large language model, and let's say you have your PeopleSoft in OCI, you now can have a large language model in the same data center as PeopleSoft. That is huge. That doesn't get talked about enough, right? So the ability for your data to stay inside the data center. So Oracle likes to say, you bring AI to the data. You don't bring data to the AI. Because otherwise, what you'll find is a lot of data gets copied around, or let's ship this data here, this overnight batch process. Be very skeptical of those approaches. So the GenAI service is there for you. Now, the drawback to the GenAI service is the world's most powerful models, like a GPT, are not yet available on Oracle Cloud, but they do have Grok. I believe that they're in the process, maybe. I'm working on putting Gemini in there, and OpenAI's open source models are on there. But the biggest, most powerful models, which are needed to run sophisticated agents, are not yet in Oracle Cloud, but stay tuned because I think they're coming. The next one here is GenAI agents. What is this? So while ODA is a human supervised, what we call kind of deterministic platform, GenAI agents is an OCI service that allows you to build agents which are not human supervised in the same way, which means GenAI is able to access your enterprise data and then make decisions about how to use it to answer questions. So it thinks and it reasons. Some folks worry about GenAI agents because it does mean, okay, well, it's going to grab some enterprise data out of PeopleSoft. It's going to send it to this model. And by the way, you really need powerful models to make this work well. So oftentimes that happens to be OpenAI. And now all of a sudden I'm sending my PeopleSoft data to OpenAI. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be done correctly where there's no PII exchanged and nothing can be identifiable. Well, I think we talk about that more as we go. But GenAI Agents is a relatively new service from OCI. It's going to go through a lot of change in the next year, but I expect this to be one of the more popular services. Today, it's really meant as an engineer tool to build out agents. It's not a business user tool. I think it will get there eventually, but today it is not. AI Agent Studio, you may have heard this. There is a lot of confusion out there in the market, so I'm happy to be here today to talk about it. AI Agent Studio is a Fusion-oriented product. So it's for Fusion customers. And so it's meant to be used potentially by business users without any coding. And it comes with access to pre-built Fusion APIs. So when they talk about the AI agent marketplace, that's a Fusion thing. That's for AI Agent Studio. And those marketplaces are really different partners can publish to the marketplace, but they're really just variations on prompts. It's not much more than that today. So if you're not using Fusion, you're likely not going to be using AI Agent Studio. If you are using Fusion, you could use AI Agent Studio for Fusion, but you're not going to also connect it to PeopleSoft. So it really sits in that pillar. Next here is a private agent factory. This is new with Oracle 26 AI. Essentially, this is if GenAI agents is the cloud version to build agents, Private Agent Factory is the on-premise or private version of that same product. Now, it's not the same product teams, and there will be differences, but the idea is you could build agents inside the Oracle database. So all the metadata, the prompts, instructions, guardrails, all that stuff stays inside your environment. And then if you pair it up with a large language model, especially one in Oracle Cloud, and you're using Oracle 26 AI in Oracle Cloud, now all of a sudden you're very, very private, single tenancy. That again, also more of an engineering tool today. OCI data science. So everything I've talked about so far predominantly gets used in what we call conversational AI. That's, when you see these chat bubbles going back and forth, what you're used to when you use ChatGPT. OCI data science is a bit different. It's for building your own machine learning models, not necessarily language models. So clients will come to us and say, we want anomaly detection or fraud detection. We want to run this against our payroll or our applications or, student records, student success data. Predict, is this student going to be successful, right? That uses the OCI data science service. Behind the scenes, it's going to use OCI compute. It's going to use storage and what we call Jupyter notebooks, which is kind of like a virtual machine running on Linux. And that's the OCI data science service. It's a much, much different engineering activity than building agents or chatbots, but they're all AI. But that's the difference there. So this is kind of the portfolio right now of where I would focus if you're going to use Oracle AI tools. And you can go check these out today online. You can check out all the pricing as well. And besides ODA, which does have minimum pricing, the rest of these services are on-demand pricing. You only get charged for what you use. So you can play with it for a very low amount of funding. All right, so should you do it yourself? This is a do-it-yourself checklist. These are the things ideally you would have in place if you were going to do it yourself. So AI engineers, people who understand what does it mean to prompt, what does it mean to guardrail, how do I keep up with all the model differences, what's the difference between Grok and GPT and Gemini, right? Someone who really understands AI. Right. You need data scientists because you need to look at vast amounts of data for some of these use cases and understand trends and pinpoint things. And so this can be very helpful. You need to really understand the PeopleSoft data model, right? If you're going to enter, if your agents are going to work with PeopleSoft, you need to anticipate some of the questions people are going to ask, and then what kind of data would support those answers, and where is that data stored? How is it secured? Do I understand row level security? How is that applied? Because I don't want to potentially leak data out of PeopleSoft that I shouldn't be. So this is really important. You should have a PII security specialist, somebody whose job, not their whole job, at least a portion of their job, is to focus on the flow of PII data. Where is that data going? Who has rights to it? Does the user have transparency that the data is being used? You need that role in your team. Sorry, these are a little bit out of order. PeopleSoft integration experts. Anytime you're going to talk to PeopleSoft with AI, it's going to go through integration broker. It's going to use REST service frameworks. So you need someone who really understands those things. If something goes wrong, nodes and gateways and all of that, you should have that on the team. You need the available development and maintenance budget, right? So to build the thing, but most importantly, the maintenance. Every month, AI changes. So you have to anticipate every month. You might be plugging in a new model. You might have to rerun regression testing. You're going to have to look at logs and find out where the AI is having trouble and adjust to it. So you got to have ongoing budget. Remember, it's a journey, not a project. And you got to have the bandwidth to support and monitor the solution. We've seen clients build something themselves, launch it. Okay, we're done. That doesn't work. You got to stay on top of it. You got to look at logs, find out what people are asking. You can tell from your users where the demand is. Where do we need to improve the AI? And so that's part of it as well. So this is the checklist. I'd recommend getting all these boxes checked if you can, at least 80% of them if you're going to try to build it yourself. Couple, an ability to keep up with monthly AI changes. It's always changing. I think I've already mentioned that. A couple gotchas here. What could sink an AI project? These are the things we see when we're out in the field, whether a client asks us to come in and rescue their AI project or whether we're seeing them do it on their own. These are the things to look out for. Number one, compromising private data, PII data. This is glossed over way too much in our industry. We talk about all these AI solutions and nobody really talks about the data flow. So this is a huge gotcha. You could go through a whole project. Oh, look how cool this is. It's working great. And at the last minute, you realize some data is going where it shouldn't go and the whole thing gets shut down. So you got to stay ahead of that. Number two here, shadow data copies. We see a lot of clients, the solution is, okay, let's take all this PeopleSoft data and let's copy it over here to this other system so the AI can use it. Oh, and by the way, let's copy that data to an entirely different data center or entirely different cloud. There's a lot of risk there. You want to avoid that. The data is not real time. You might not be representing the business rules and security rules. So be very, very careful if you ever go down the road of copying the data somewhere else. Number three is fast-paced change. We see clients struggle with how quickly AI changes. There's an AI war going on right now with these vendors, especially with large language models, and it changes very, very frequently. So you got to be able to keep pace with it. Now, number four, managing latency, especially in the new reasoning and thinking models. Sometimes there's latency. Tasks can take 10 seconds, 20 seconds. So being able to manage the user in that situation. How do you tell the user, hey, I'm thinking about this, give me a minute, or let me look up your records, or please bear with me. You need to use some tricks to manage user expectations in a world where the latency isn't as fast as web pages are. Auditing, we often see projects miss out on auditing, right? They're not, you'll have moments where you need to go back in time. What did the AI say to this person in this moment? What did the user ask? What data did it source? How did it make its decisions? Is there any information you can give me? Was the prompt changed? This is very important. Who has access to change prompts and other system instructions? When was it changed? Auditing is going to be very important because remember, AI isn't ones and zeros. You don't clearly understand everything it's going to do. So you need to be able to go backwards and figure out how it's been changed over time. And then finally, personalization. We see a lot of AI projects roll out without personalization. I often tell the simplest use case I can think about, right? Let's say you're an institution and you have a chatbot on your website and someone says, where can I park? And you've deployed no personalization. And next thing you know, it's sending new students to park in a faculty parking lot. Like, that's not good. It's not good at all, right? So being able to understand who's the user, they're a student, that's different. They're a visitor, right? They're faculty, they're staff, they're a parent, and understanding that persona and being able to adjust your output based on who they are. That's an angle that's also a gotcha I'd bring up. So a couple things here. What's everyone else doing? What do we see other clients doing? And more importantly, there's been some studies recently that have had quite a few respondents. So let's just review a couple of these things. Number one, 61% in a recent study in 2025 here bought AI first. What we're seeing emerge is not so much a do I buy it or do I build it strategy. What we're seeing is most dominant is buy first, build selectively. Right. So they're buying something to get jump started, and then they are extending it by kind of building on top of it. That seems to be the dominant strategy. But right now, 61% of respondents were buying first. Partnering. I know I'm a partner, and I know this is going to sound salesy. This is right out of an MIT study, and it makes sense. But the MIT study found that there was a 33% success rate when there was an internal AI project, while external projects with partners involved had a 66% success rate. Also, statistics showed 12% of IT professionals have significant AI or ML experience. So that kind of explains it right there. There is a huge talent gap, right? And so it's okay if you have to partner. You can use that resource if you need it. And missing deadlines, the study found 71% of in-house IT builds fail to meet deadlines or budgets. So oftentimes you don't know what it actually costs until it costs it. So keep some of these things in mind. These are recent trends from 2025. At GT, there is a range of what I call AI maturity. At GT, we have what we call our AI maturity index. I'm not going to go through all of these things, but you can see many of our clients that we work with, or we have worked with, or even ones we know of that are doing it on their own. This is kind of where they start, kind of basic FAQ chatbots. This is really Picasso, fits into this category, level 1, right? And then they move up to a GenAI type chatbot. And they're moving all the way towards agents and one-stop shops and agent-to-agent collaboration. And this is the highest. Very few are up here in these levels, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But most of the clients we're working with that we're seeing are probably somewhere around the middle, somewhere around level 4, 5, or 6 today. I expect that to kind of change over 2026. So you could grade yourself on this maturity index if you like. But most people, what they don't realize is how much further they have to go, right? They're kind of down here and they didn't realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more we could be doing. And it just keeps changing every month. So let's talk a little bit about enterprise AI use cases for PeopleSoft. So now what I want to segue to is, okay, you want to use AI. Well, where are the opportunities to use AI in PeopleSoft? So I'm going to go through a few of those. The first is when we talk about AI for PeopleSoft at Gideon Taylor, we break it into 2 categories, conversational AI and what we call embedded AI. All we mean when we say embedded AI is there's not a chat bubble. You're not chatting with something back and forth. It's built into the application. I'll show you live examples of both of these things. So PeopleSoft AI agents can be used for things like authoring, information retrieval, recommendations. I'll show you some more examples here shortly. This is essentially bringing that Fusion-like embedded AI features to PeopleSoft. Anything you see in a Fusion demo, you can do in PeopleSoft with these Oracle AI tools. Then in conversational AI, at Gideon Taylor, this is Gideon Taylor specific, but we have a couple things we do here, and I'll show you all these, but we also have a Picasso alternative, and I'll show you a little bit what that looks like. But back to the embedded side, here are some use cases we are seeing AI being used. I'm not going to read through all these. I'm going to just kind of flash these up for campus solutions. Most of these are all embedded AI type use cases, but a lot of opportunity there. This academic support, we spend a lot of time there. This is one of the most popular right now. But we're doing more with advising and helping me find classes and programs of study and help me transfer. I'll show you a little bit of that. Hopefully we have some time for that. HCM use cases for embedded AI, tons of stuff in onboarding and time, benefits, talent, performance. These are financials use cases you can explore. Again, I won't go through all these, but give you a second, even if you want to screenshot it. And then, of course, cross-functional activities. One of the ones I think is really exciting is automated approval, right? The ability to take a policy and say, hey, if you're 80% confident that this submission, whether it's whatever it is, it's an expense or whatever it is 80% compliant with the policy. If you're 80% confident it is in compliance with the policy, just auto approve it. If it's under this dollar value and it complies with the policy, auto approve it. What if you could reduce 90% of the approvals your approvers do in PeopleSoft? I always hear about that being, a huge pain point. The amount of approvals that can occur for certain customers of ours. So I think that's an exciting one. So let's get in. We have about 15 minutes here, and I'd like to show you some real life use cases. What are GT clients doing? Again, this is not meant to be a sales presentation, but we are in this market because there's demands and we're meeting those demands. So I want to show you examples of how we've met those demands, because that will give you some creative juices on how maybe you could do it as well and what possibilities exist. So The biggest thing we're doing in higher ed specifically is we have a product called IDA. It's an enterprise AI agent. It runs on Oracle AI, runs on Oracle data centers, and it does all these things. But I'm going to show you a quick demo so you can see this live. So let's see here. Hopefully, can you tell me if you can hear this audio, Scott or Rodrigo? Can you give me a thumbs up if you hear it? Hi, this is a crash course 4-minute demo of IDA for higher education. IDA can be accessed on any website, over text messaging, even in Microsoft Teams. When I come into IDA, I can ask any question, not just academic questions. In this case, I'm asking a service desk question, and it's going to source an answer from my knowledge base. This could be Salesforce or ServiceNow. IDA can handle all sorts of queries. So let's jump over and ask an academic question, like, what about my schedule? IDA will source my schedule, personalized to me, from the student information system. Give me what courses I'm taking, the dates, the times, the instructors, and even walking directions. If I ask IDA a question that's ambiguous, like what is the deadline? It'll help me clarify what I'm looking for, in this case, application deadlines, and get me to the right place. It is also able to handle complex queries, such as the below. It understands econ is a subject. It means economics. So it can look at my enrollments, figure out which economics courses I have taken. It also understands I'm looking for assignments. It's able to source that data from the learning management system. In this demo, we're talking about Canvas. I can also process transactions, like dropping a class. So when I ask to drop a class, it will confirm here are the current enrollments I'm in, so I can only select a valid class. It'll then give me the deadlines generated from the student information system. So I understand, is this on my transcript or do I have to pay for this class? Finally, there's an integration with our GTE Forms product. So I can submit my request, it can route through approval workflows and be fully tracked all the way through. IDA is not just an operational tool. I could say something that is concerning from a health and wellness standpoint. And IDA will route you immediately to connecting with your advisor and scheduling a time to meet. In this case, the student needs a little support, handle the pressure they're feeling. So I'm going to skip ahead because we are short on time, but basically what you'll see there is an experience over chat that a student or even an advisor or faculty member, they essentially can find and interact with any data in PeopleSoft without being inside PeopleSoft. But it also is going to source information from outside PeopleSoft, so it can complete that loop. Whether it's knowledge-based articles from a Salesforce, for example, or your website or policy documents, it brings all those things together. And that's what we're doing. It's quite popular for students as a support channel. You know, students, especially the youngest generation, they're getting used to this medium being the kind of preferred method, right? They're not Google searching anymore. They're just going to ChatGPT. So this is what they're going to expect. So let me kind of move forward. This is an example. This is an international institution that does a lot of online stuff, and they serve, I don't know what it is, over 60 countries, and they want to help people discover programs and areas of study. So this is a GenAI based example. And what's interesting about this is it uses Salesforce. It sources 1,500 knowledge-based articles from Salesforce. It uses a course catalog data from PeopleSoft, and it uses program websites for marketing copy. It brings it all together, and it can act as an advisor to help answer your questions about their programs. So in this case, the student's asking about, I'm interested in technology, but also criminology. And it's going to say, well, hey, have you thought about cybersecurity? That might be right for you. Here's some more information. And then I can come back and say, well, what about data science? Maybe that would be interesting for me. And it's say, oh, yeah, sure. We have a data science program. And here's some examples of what we offer in data science. So you can imagine the efficiency of interacting this way rather than reading through big, long web pages. And it all updates itself in real time. It's entirely automatic, all GenAI based. So that's pretty neat. Let me move forward. Recently, we've added a bunch of agentic features to the product as well. Now you're allowing AI to think and reason. In this example, it's all automatic. You're not scripting any workflows. this person's asking about a paycheck and it's asking to compare the last 2 paychecks and what has changed. And the AI does that all automatically. So this is very popular right now. We're doing a lot with this, a lot with advising use cases in higher ed as well. Embedded AI, I wanted to show you an example of this. So this is not chat bubbles. This is using AI to make an experience better. So this is an PeopleSoft HR use case. I want to show you this quickly. Let's say you're a long way of migrating off PeopleSoft to the cloud, but you've been to a recent conference. You were really impressed with some of the AI features you're seeing in applications like Oracle Fusion. Well, alas, you don't have to wait 5 or 10 years. GT is infusing AI all through the PeopleSoft experience, and we're doing it without customizations. In this case, I'm a recruiter, and I'm looking to make a job posting. When I go to this page, you'll see a special button using event mapping and entirely customization free. By clicking this button, my AI job posting assistant is going to help me write this job posting using real data from the component in real time. AI is going to write the job posting better than I ever could, and it's going to save me a lot of time. By simply clicking the button, making a few edits, save and post this job in no time. Find out more about what GT is doing with AI and people. So that's a great example of embedded AI using it as a co-pilot to help you write a job posting. And so there are tons of different use cases like that in PeopleSoft, but that's it in action. It's using event mapping. So it's all native People Tools technology right there, wherever you host your PeopleSoft. We also have something called, we're helping customers with the PeopleSoft assistant is what we call it. And the idea here is adding help to any PeopleSoft page, because there's many pages where folks just get stuck, right? So in this screenshot, for example, someone is in here to change their name, and in the name change page, it asks about attachments. It says attachments. You have not added any attachments. Add attachment. What does that mean? Right? So boom, I pop up the chat. I say, what are the attachments for? So it recognizes the context of where you are. You're in the name change page. And then it answers that question. Well, you need proof of this name change, or you need a marriage certificate, or whatever the case may be. So imagine how many help desk calls could you reduce if on any PeopleSoft page, people could get their questions answered. So it's another popular use case we're seeing to help PeopleSoft users, give them help as they go. Here's another example of that in action for transcripts. So in this case, a student is coming in to request an official transcript, right? And all of a sudden they get an option, select option, immediate process. Well, I'm not, official transcript, do I need that? So down here you can see it says, do I really need an official transcript, or could I use an unofficial one? And then immediately I get that answer. So you're getting kind of policy, knowledge, informational answers coupled with the PeopleSoft pages. And then when I'm going to select my option. What type of processing do I want? What does that even mean? What does immediate processing mean? Right? And I can ask those questions and get those answers right on the page. So I'll kind of skip forward. I think you get the point there. Again, just helping PeopleSoft users right on the page. We have a similar concept with the eForms Assistant. If you haven't heard about eForms before, it's basically a tool. It's a rapid fluid development tool where business users can build fluid pages. Everything sits inside People Tools. It's all native People Tools. And so you build these forms and they get audited and tracked and workflow enabled and all sorts of things, right? But when you're filling out these forms, you may have questions. Or if you're building these forms, you may have questions. So we're bringing AI to that as well. So this is what eForms is. It's been around for 20 plus years, and many customers use it. So here is an example of AI helping you on a fluid form.
Hi, my name is Joan, and I'm a PeopleSoft University student.
All right, I'm going to skip forward a little bit.
Andrew, we lost the audio.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Did
now
you
it's
lose the
back.
audio? Okay.
Hold.
This is a student with a hold.
Library fines? Oh, that's right. I forgot that I lost a library book last year and I have to pay a fine. Let's see what my outstanding balance is for that hold. $100? Oh boy, I don't get paid again for another 2 weeks. How am I going to remove this hold so that I can register for all my classes? I know. I'll ask the eForms assistant. They'll know what to do. Help! I have a hold on my account. Okay, the eForms assistant shared some info. Oh, an emergency loan application. That might actually do the trick. Hey, it looks like I can click this link to start an application. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Let's see, enter amount. I wonder how much I can ask for. Let me ask. How much can I get? Okay, looks like up to $1,000 without any additional support or approvals. Okay, I wonder if I can get those funds quickly. Let me ask again. How quickly can I get my funds? 2 to 3 days? Oh, well, that's perfect. Okay, so let's see. I need $100.
So I think you get the point there. The idea is support users where they are. By the way, the eForms assistant is free for all eForms customers. We make it available to anybody who wants to use it. And further, you probably noticed there is a voice channel built in, so you don't have to type. You can actually have it talk to you, and you can talk to it, which makes it one of the most accessible options you have when deploying something new to students or your users. Okay, let's see here. A little bit about GT. These are some of the schools that work with us. It's a potpourri of a little bit of everything. But I think the bottom line takeaway before we get to Q&A here is this update from Oracle is not a stop sign. It's really a green light. It's probably not even representing that big of a change. You know, if you were using Picasso, Picasso maybe had, I don't know, a dozen skills. You were probably going to build on top of that anyway. So now you can do that same effort you were planning and build a bot or an agent perfectly tailored to you. And because the technology has also evolved over time, the building has become more efficient and you get more out of every hour spent. So you're actually in a pretty good spot. So I would not take this update to mean anything other than, you know, with every closing door, there are many new open doors. And that's where we sit here. And whether you go it alone or we're with a partner, I can't say it enough. You should get into AI and start finding out how it can drive value for you and your users. So now we have, I guess before I get to questions, we got a couple minutes. Let's see. We do have a blog, which we do a lot of commentary on AI in the industry. So talking about new developments and opportunities. There's a QR code right there. If you're interested, you can scan it. You can read more. You could follow along as we post new articles. So I wanted to be sure to put that up there. I'll leave that there for a second. And finally, I think we are ready for questions. So how are we going to manage this? Are we going to read from the Q&A?
I think that's probably a good place to start. And I can just go ahead and start that from the top. What are the AI alternatives for a PeopleSoft on-premise shop not using OCI?
You don't have to use OCI to use AI. Now, AI itself requires a lot of computing power, right? So it's going to be in the cloud, right? But your PeopleSoft does not need to be in the cloud. So we have customers where their PeopleSoft is on premise still, and the AI is in the cloud. But the AI you deploy in the cloud with these Oracle Cloud tools, you can have dedicated tenancies. You're not sharing with anybody. And you can also set up VPN connections or even fast connects between the Oracle Cloud Data Center and your PeopleSoft to keep it as private as possible.
Excellent. Holly asks, how do you monitor or account for bias?
Right. That's a good question. So there's two types of AI, right? The first is I call machine learning based AI that gets trained usually oftentimes by a vendor. What we do personally is when we're using machine learning AI, we use our clients, business experts to provide feedback to the AI. Now you can't stop human bias. It's kind of always there, but you don't want human bias from someone you don't know or a vendor who that vendor ends up outsourcing that to somebody else. So we have a tool, it's like a business user tool that they'll use with our IDO product where they can tell the AI, you should have done this, you did a good job here, and it uses that feedback to train and get better, and that manages the bias because you want the perspective of people in your organization, not people outside your organization. We also do quite a bit of user feedback. So every answer you get, users can provide feedback. Was this helpful or not? And you monitor that feedback to find where there might be potential issues. We also have long form feedback. Did I meet your expectations? So we're constantly collecting feedback and reviewing that. On the Gen AI side, we do it with it's a technique called guardrailing. It's essentially prompt engineering, right? Where we can give it instructions on how to behave. But ultimately, every AI model is trained from data on the internet or private data sources. It's all labeled by human beings. I think in the case of these large language models, there's so much data, it's hard for one particular niche bias to come out, but they put a tremendous amount of effort in reviewing and managing that bias for large language models. For the smaller models, we have a tool so that you can manage it. So that's our approach.
Tisha, this next question is probably best answered by you. Will the slides be available? And let me add that there are some folks probably attending the call that aren't Hug members, in case that influences your response.
Yeah, so the recording of today's call will be made available in our eAcademy on-demand files. So if you are a member, you'll have access there. And then Andrew, Scott, if you're willing to share the slide deck, you can send that to me and I can add it in with the recording.
You bet. Yeah, and if there's anybody here who is not a Hug member, certainly let us know. We can go ahead and send that stuff to you directly. You can submit a request to my email, scott@gideontaylor.com. Next slide. Can AI agents be built on-premise PeopleSoft infrastructure?
Yes, I think we had that same
Yeah.
question earlier. The AI itself does process in the cloud, but it's entirely possible to make sure you're never sending private data out to that model, and then it comes back in to your on-premise system to render the results on the screen.
Is there an AI framework for PeopleSoft administrators for log monitoring and sophisticated AI dashboards? We have implemented PeopleSoft Health Monitor, looking for better implementation.
That's a great question. There's nothing out of the box I know of, but you could absolutely take all these different PeopleSoft logs and then deploy embedded AI on top of that. We're working with a couple of clients where we're doing kind of these dashboards where AI is looking at data patterns and calling out areas of interest or anomalies to make it easier to manage. So you could apply that same technique to PeopleSoft administration. There's two paths I would take there. One is you can use a large language model to go through a set of instructions to look for concerning things. Like, do you see, any repeated requests within the same second? Do you see, if you can identify what those instructions are, a large language model can take a data set. You really got to keep it underneath 400,000 characters. A large language model could probably help you there. If you have very large data sets, you're going to need to process that at night, the night before. And that's where you would use the OCA data science tools to build predictive models or anomaly detection models. And there you're using open source models, you're fine tuning it with your data. And so how you do that, I'm maybe getting a little deep here, but let's say you had an intrusion, right? You take a set of logs from when the intrusion happened, and then you take a set of logs from when intrusions don't happen, and you train the model, hey, this is where something bad happened, this is where something didn't happen. And then every day it could go through the logs and it could essentially create a scorecard, if you will, of a warning something might be going on here. Right. And you could do that all with embedded AI. You create a PeopleSoft landing page that displays all that. Very possible.
Excellent. We got one more question. And I feel like I have to put a disclaimer or some sort of safe harbor statement in front of this because none of us are legal experts. But Alan asks, what are your thoughts on legal implications of AI decision making when it is a bit of a black box? Example, recent recruiting case in California.
Yeah, interesting. So if you look at this is this is the conundrum, right? Because the real value is full automation. That's what everybody wants. But there is a lot of hesitancy. You actually, if you look at Fusion, what Fusion's doing with a lot of their agents, they are requiring human input on anything meaningful. So it won't actually do something. Well, when I say do something, it won't write data to the database until it proposes to a human, this is what I would like to do in this situation, is what I suggest. Do you want me to proceed? Do you want me to commit this to the database? And then they get a human to review it and say yes. And I think that's how they're managing it today. But ultimately, automation is going to be what drives the most value. So I think that will loosen in time. But today, to manage the legal risk, you can have those human review steps. A lot were in those anomaly detection examples. What we're doing is we're like for fraudulent applications, we'll create 3 buckets. One is, I'm very confident this is not fraud. Another bucket is, I'm very confident this is fraud. And another bucket is, I'm not quite sure. Let's put this on hold and have a human review it. So we create these 3 stages, and the AI, when it's in one of those 2, end buckets, it just moves it along through. If it's in the middle bucket, then a human weighs in, and all that's tracked and audited, that it was reviewed and approved. Practically, my opinion on that is, what humans are going to do, right? They're not going to think about it much. They're going to look it over, click yes, just to make the lawyers happy. So I don't know if that gets us to a great place, but that's what I've seen done right now to date.
Very good. Thanks, Andrew. And thank you to everyone who submitted questions. Great discussion, valuable information. Andrew, we appreciate you sharing your perspective. I'm going to put in one more plug before handing this back over to Tisha to bring us home. I definitely encourage folks to check out additional information on GT Ignite. It is a unique conference. As Andrew mentioned at the beginning, it is our first time hosting a user-driven conference, and it's a conference within a conference. So you don't necessarily need to be a Hug member. All Hug members obviously are invited to the Alliance conference and therefore Ignite. But even if you're not a member of the Hug organization, you can attend Ignite and Alliance and take advantage of all of this rich content and education with regards to PeopleSoft and Oracle and chatbots and eForms automation and user experience enhancements. There's a whole wealth of information and customer sharing that's going to be there in March. So we're excited to be a part of that. You can find out more information, obviously, with the QR code there. As Andrew mentioned, it is a very affordable conference. You can get a full conference pass to the Alliance and Ignite conference with all that content and special events, or you can just get a designated conference pass for the Ignite component of that, which is predominantly a Sunday, Monday conference. I think that's all I had. Andrew, Rodrigo, anything else that you guys had comments on?
Rodrigo, please.
Not really, Andrew. Just thank you for all the insights. It's really, really interesting. We're very excited for 2026 and the whole AI trend that we are seeing. It's a journey, as you mentioned. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yeah, and I know at times it's scary and it moves fast. I think my message is, you don't have to have all the answers. Just start making some progress. Start working on some things. Start trying some things out. It's going to be a big revolution, and it's just going to get better every single year. And so you want to get ahead of it, because you don't want to wait until it's perfect and then you're spending 2-3 years in catch up. You want to try to keep pace with the evolution so that you're getting value more quickly. That's my takeaway. But it's very exciting times. I hope to see you all in Orlando in March as well. Thanks for having me, Tesha.
Keeping with the holiday season, I'm just going to make a reference to anybody who's seen the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon. Put one foot in front of the other. Tisha, it's all yours.
Love that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for presenting with us today. We too are really looking forward to March in Orlando. Thanks for plugging that. Again, the recording and slides will be made available in our eAcademy on-demand files. So if you'd like to revisit this content or share it with a peer, it will be available very soon there. With that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.